No.
Never mind. Sure.
Go ahead, Walsh.
Sick. Tyrone, you probably have the best frame of reference of anybody up there on your panel right now. But how good is this team, and how good can it be? I mean, you've beaten the people you should have beaten. Can you kind of see maybe how good this team could be, and how good are you right now?
I think we're pretty good. We just have a problem with playing full games, and that's something that's I don't know if it's the youth or us not keeping our composure at times, but we'll go certain possessions in a row where we look like a team that can win the Big Ten, and then we'll go a couple possessions where we look like last in the Big Ten, and it's like it's ridiculous, but. If we're able to take away those lows and keep the highs up and not get too high off of it, I think we can be really good.
Definitely a work in progress, would you say?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, for any of you who want to answer this, a lot of teams are going to try to zone you. Coach Painter's talked about that a lot. They're going to try to take AJ and Jay away with that. So obviously you guys are going to have to try to still get the ball inside, but then also get shots from outside. And it seemed like you did better maybe at both of those things tonight. Can you just talk about the improvements you made maybe in both of those facets against the zone tonight?
I mean, we just did a better job of moving the basketball around. In the zone, you got to keep them, shifting it from one way to another, and then we'll be able to get it inside, and then from there play inside out. So I think we did a good job of that. A couple turnovers, but for the most part, I think we did a better job of just doing that.
AJ, what do you have to do when teams come out to?
Pretty much my job is just to take the middleman away, just keep him out of there. So when they got the ball moving and they switching over, I just take the big man out. So put the man in the corner, he takes him, and then it's pretty much just open over, and then unless that man helps over, and then we got a man middle, so somebody got to take him. If you didn't understand that, I'll tell you it again.
Tyrone and Eric, just what did you get out of this game? I mean, it was from the jump. You guys kind of built a big lead. I mean, what do you take away from a game like this?
Just we want to take the bad that we got out of this game, what we did wrong, and correct it. We turned the ball over I think 9 or 10 times, 9 times. We wanted to keep it. We wanted to keep it under 7. That's something that we went into the game, and then we wanted to keep them under 25 for each half. First half we did it. Second half we didn't do it. So it's gonna be some repercussions for that.
AJ, tonight was your first game all season without fouling. Just what do you credit that to?
I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. Just staying on my feet, just trying to block shots. But really, they didn't go to the hole as much when I was in, so it's just I ain't pretty much getting foul trouble. But other than that, I'm just staying on my feet.
And on a nightly basis, how hard is it for you not to foul? The way teams attack you sometimes and all the rules out there, just how hard is it to not foul?
It's not hard not to foul. It's just sometimes I'm not ready or I'm just not paying attention. That's how they get me. So other than that, when I'm locked in, I'm ready. It's not hard to foul.
For Tyrone and Eric, you guys had talked before the season that you thought this was going to be a better outside shooting team. Don't know if we'd necessarily seen that consistently, but tonight you guys go 8 of 16 from 3, and Tyrone was 3 of 4, and you hit 1 tonight. Do you feel like that's something that's coming around at all, the outside shooting?
I think it's just confidence, being confident in your shot, getting good shots. We early on we kind of took some bad ones as far as in the offense, but I think today it was all good threes that we shot. Most of them were open. I think we maybe took 1 or 2 bad ones, but most of the time when we take good rhythm threes, we make them, and when we don't, our percentages go down.
Yeah, I mean, when teams zone, you got to make them pay. They're sinking in on AJ and Jay, so the ability to knock down shots is huge and critical, and so I think we did a good job of that tonight.
Tyrone, can you talk a little bit about what Bryson Scott has added to this team, just in terms of not only his play, but in terms of his attitude?
He's just a guy that he's a tough-headed guy. He's ready to play. I feel like at all times. We just got to get him, to the point where he's diving into that scouting report. But besides that, he brings energy for us. He brings another defensive player that can really guard out in the open. He also brings, offensively in transition. He's been, tremendous for us this year, and just I like his attitude. Period. In practice, he's going hard every single day. I can't say I've seen a day when he's been off in practice, and that's something that's huge for us.
Stacy, and then one more if we
Eric, was this a game that you guys, some of you guys maybe especially, were able to gain kind of some confidence just in your individual games and maybe kind of get back on track?
Me personally, definitely, just because had a good first half. But I think so, just for an overall team standpoint as well. Be able to knock down some shots on the outside. Hopefully, we'll carry through in the games where we actually need to hit some shots from the outside. And turnovers kind of cost us a little bit, but we move the ball a lot better than what we have been in the past. So hopefully, it'll build more success in the future.
Tyrone, how much satisfaction do you get in going into the non-conference, 8-0, undefeated non-conference, and then how maybe much do you anticipate getting one last road shot before the Big Ten play starts?
I think it's huge for us. We need that road win. We've lost on neutral floors, but as far as home, I'm glad that we've been able to protect our home. But I feel like we definitely got to go down to West Virginia with a chip on our shoulder and try to get a win. That's one that's going to be super huge for us. It's a good environment. Not only that, I'm sure they want to get their revenge for last year. So we just got to pick up the scouting report and get ready to play them.
Thank you, guys. Is that your phone, or they just trying to sneak? They trying to sneak out little side conversations in. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
Exactly. I pretty much already written down that exact quote. Let's have to tweak it.
What's the over-under of how many times you have to rewind that?
I don't know, 4.5.
But then again, when you go back and listen to that, he probably just says the same thing over and over and over again and doesn't actually describe his own in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. Just basically describes himself moving in a circle around the team. Baby steps. Baby. That's right.
Oh, do you want to give it to Jackson? Yeah. I think I'm from Long. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Go to your phone.
Marsha, I know it's going to break your heart, but you realize there's only one men's home basketball game in the next 25 days.
I do.
Probably this week.
I got 3 games in the rest of the month. That's excitement right there.
That's
Yeah. Nice December.
Yeah, that's what I'm about.
How many did you purchase?
One. A lot of college budgets.
All it takes is one. Matt, I know throughout the first 12 games you've mixed and matched and offensive lineup, defensive line, best guys that play together. How good is this team, and how good do you think it can be at this 12-game mark?
Well, I think we have the guys and the talent to be really good, to be honest with you. But we haven't beat anybody, on our schedule that's going to help us in terms of trying to get an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament. And you win a lot of home games, but you have to be able to go on the road. You have to be able to go to neutral site and win some games. This West Virginia game is a huge game for us. Here, and we've mixed and matched, and a lot of people put too much stock, into who you start or whatever. But you're trying. You're trying from a rotation standpoint to do some things, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is your quality of play, and we're just inconsistent right now. And we're inconsistent within a game. We're inconsistent in halves at Orlando, and we have to find some consistency. In my opinion, you're only as good as your guards. And if you watch an NCAA tournament game, you watch championship basketball, sure, you got to have guys across the board at every position that are good players, but you have to start with your decision making. Our decision making right now is not very good. Even though we only have 10 turnovers, I thought we had some shots that were bad shots that are just like turnovers. We did a better job moving the ball. We did a better job of being unselfish, but it's still it's too sloppy, and we have to get good guard play if we expect to beat good people.
Matt, you said a couple times this year there's a reason people zone us. You saw a couple of those looks again tonight. And
Right.
Can you assess, just on first glance, if you thought things were better tonight as far as both getting the ball inside, even despite that, and then also hitting those outside shots?
Yeah, well, I thought we took less and made more. I think that's important for this group to do. I think it's important for a lot of teams that we've had here at Purdue, even when we've had more guys that can shoot. But getting the ball inside against the zone is difficult. They're doing it for a purpose, and they're really packing it in. So we have to do a better job of getting the ball in the high post and making a decision. We got the ball there a couple times tonight, and we dribbled it right away when we really needed to look opposite and be able to play. I thought Kendall Stevens had 2 or 3 looks that he probably should have tried to knock down, and he didn't. He's trying to listen to us and be unselfish and move the ball a little bit more. But against the zone, you got to have some guys in there that can open some things up. And whether it's zone or man, it really just comes down to me with decision making. I thought we had it in the Butler game for stretches. Then the other stretches, it was poor, especially the one where we turned it over 3 times in a row late in the game. It just kills us, and that's the reason I called timeout today. In that one stretch is because Ronnie turns the ball over twice, and then we come down right away, and Bryson's attacking after one dribble. You have to understand how important that third possession is after you've had a couple mistakes. And it's very important to get a quality shot at that time. I call timeout, and then we shoot an air ball. And so I call timeout and to say, hey, I just let them know how important this is, and we shoot an air ball in that possession. So, we have to be a more mature basketball team and a more cerebral team and understand those situations, or it will continue to happen.
Coach, a couple of things interesting that you just mentioned, that we kind of put maybe a little bit too much into who's in the starting lineup. I have a couple of questions about the lineup.
Right.
Firstly, Bryson Scott, what got him into the starting lineup?
Yeah.
And then what will AJ have to do to get back?
Well, I don't know with AJ's is a little bit different. AJ has to, first of all, be in legal guardian position. That's your story. When you go back and you watch tape as a coach, sometimes it's tough to see things on the fly. He's fouling. I wouldn't say every one of his fouls are good calls, but majority of them are good calls. He's got to get in legal guarding position. Sometimes when he starts a game, he gets those quick, early, cheap fouls. Referees like to set the tone of a game. What's going to be called in the post, what's going to be called in the perimeter, and they set the tone. And sometimes those are cheap. Just to get it out there. Why that is, I don't know, but it happens. So staying away from that. A couple games he wasn't ready to play at the start of the game, so we went with Jay. And so to me, that's not, it's more of getting him in legal guarding position. If he can play in the game without fouling, it's really going to help us. I'd like to play games against quality people when he's getting 25 to 30 minutes a game. We just mix it up. I think Bryson Scott, he brings energy. He competes. As a freshman, there's a downside to things because they don't have a high level of experience in terms of defending certain things or understanding what you want. It's just too many things thrown at him. But he always continues to play hard. And he always continues to practice hard, and we need his energy. Doesn't mean I'll start him the next game, but I'm searching just like you would be searching if you're in my position.
Coach, you had double-digit players score tonight. Looking ahead, obviously tonight's opponent wasn't, the toughest, as you have tougher games coming up, but how do you look at that, just the distribution of scoring as you move on to
Well, we had,
tougher
the
teams?
minutes were distributed, pretty evenly. Tyrone and Ronnie still play the most minutes, and Basil's next. Everybody else is under 20. So you're just trying to get as many guys out there and get as much experience as you can. And in kind of group, when they go to a zone, sometimes I don't have a great zone lineup in there. And I started, both of our point guards. So then in the first half, Sterling's actually playing the point. He hasn't played point at all for us this year, so it messes some things up. But I'm just trying to, throw some things against the wall, and hopefully it sticks a little bit in terms of certain guys playing. I think those three guys can break people down. They can put a stress, on the defense. They decided to go more zone, so it's a little bit different. But the balance is good. I'm not, a lot of young players and parents, they're into scoring. I'm into winning. I just want to get a group of guys that'll defend and rebound and share the basketball so we can win again.
Matt, then in that sense, did games like Peck and Carter had tonight where maybe they played more like maybe you wanted them to than in their minds they think they should, if that makes sense? I mean,
Yeah.
was this maybe a game for those guys in particular that they were able to maybe gain some confidence or gain some trust?
Yeah. Well, this is Sterling's fourth game in a row that he's knocked down at least 1 3 for us. So his ability to make some shots for us. Then he gets 3 assists and only 1 turnover, and that's great. Eric was playing a lot more to start the season. Basil Smotherman just has brought so much energy, and he's a guy that's passed up on some shots and moved the ball and shot a high percentage, but he's brought us that energy, and I thought Eric brought us that energy tonight. If we can get them both like that, if Eric can play like that tonight and Basil can continue to play the way he has, I think we got a pretty solid group at that 4, right there. So it was good to see Eric and Sterling play well.
Coach, you had mentioned before that the inconsistency was kind of baffling to you, just the way that they can be so up and down between halves in Orlando, other
Right.
places like that. Are you getting closer to an answer, does it feel like, even in a game like this where the opponent isn't necessarily...
I don't think so. I think you still saw it within the course of this game. I think you still saw the inconsistent play. And the one thing is that sometimes as coaches, we want to say that it's getting better. It just makes us feel better about it, whatever. That doesn't help you. It doesn't, people say, well, you got to be positive or you got to be positive in the media. No, I think you have to assess your issue and nail it head on, and you got to admit it. You have an issue here. And if you don't admit it and you get away from it as a coach, you're part of the problem. Trying to get guys, our issue is we have guys that are inconsistent, and they're making some really good plays. And then they're turning over and they're taking the same play, same situation, and then not making the play. In the same situation, they just made the play. So it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes guys, can't go left, or, they can't go a certain way, or they can't handle a certain type of defense or whatever. And you say, hey, you know what? They're zoning tonight. You're not playing. But we got guys that are just up and down in areas, whether they're successful, then they're unsuccessful. So you just got to keep working, and you got to keep practicing, and you really just continue to harp on the same things. It's kind of like raising kids. So. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.